a young man full of talent and potential. Yet, beneath that bright surface, he constantly finds himself battling waves of negative emotions and tangled thoughts. Time after time, these invisible chains hold him back, causing setbacks not only in his career, but also in his personal life. And now, just as the opportunity of a lifetime stands within reach, the dream job he has long pursued, doubt begins to creep in. He feels anxious, his confidence wavers, and under pressure, his temper flares far too easily. Worse yet, one painful failure during a key presentation didn't just dent his spirit, it shattered it. He fell hard, questioning not just his abilities, but his very worth. And so a question begins to echo in his mind, louder with each passing day. Can anyone truly master their thoughts and emotions to break free and rise beyond personal limits? This is where Ethan's story begins, a journey that may just inspire us all. One day, by pure coincidence, Ethan crosses paths with a mysterious mentor, Mr. Lucas, a well-known psychologist and the author of the renowned book, The Art of Thought Mastery. At first, Ethan hesitates, unsure whether anyone could help him tame the chaos in his mind. However, Mr. Lucas gently begins to share his philosophy, saying, "Thoughts are arrows, emotions are the bow. If you learn to control the bow, then the arrow will hit the target." At that moment, something clicks inside Ethan. Although doubt still lingers, curiosity and hope slowly take over. Therefore, he decides to trust this chance encounter and agrees to begin the learning journey. A journey that, little did he know, would transform not only his mind, but his entire life. The very first lesson begins with a simple but powerful exercise. Each morning, Ethan must write down the very first thoughts that come into his mind, without any judgment or filter. At first, he feels awkward and even doubts the purpose. However, as the days go by, he gradually realizes that his mind is constantly driven by invisible fears and irrational worries. In other words, by observing without reacting, he begins to see the hidden patterns inside his mind. Having learned to recognize his thoughts, the second step comes naturally. Whenever anger or anxiety arises, Mr. Lucas teaches Ethan the technique of pause and breathe. Specifically, he must stop for 5 seconds, take a deep breath, and regain composure before responding. At first, it seems almost impossible to control his impulses. Yet one day, when his superior criticizes him harshly, Ethan remembers the lesson, pauses, breathes, and, surprisingly, remains calm. As a result, he notices how differently the situation unfolds when emotions are managed with intention. With awareness and control developing, Mr. Lucas guides Ethan to the next challenge, reframing. Each time a negative thought emerges, Ethan must write it down and immediately write a positive, rational counterstatement next to it. Initially, this feels forced, but gradually the process becomes natural. For instance, when he thinks, "I will fail," he learns to shift to, "I can prepare better and do my best." Bit by bit, these reframes reshape the lens through which he views challenges. As the culmination of the training, Mr. Lucas takes Ethan deep into the forest, far away from distractions, where there is no internet, no noise, only silence. For 3 days, Ethan is asked to meditate and simply be. At first, the quiet feels overwhelming, even unsettling. However, little by little, he begins to sense peace emerging from within. In fact, it is in this stillness that he finally feels the storm of chaotic thoughts settling down, leaving behind clarity, strength, and quiet confidence. In summary, through awareness, emotional control, reframing, and stillness, Ethan takes the first steps in mastering his inner world. Then, the greatest opportunity arrives. Ethan is assigned to deliver a presentation in front of the entire board of directors, the moment he has both longed for and feared. As he stands outside the meeting room, all the familiar anxiety and fear begin to resurface. His heart races, palms sweat, and negative thoughts whisper once again, "What if I fail?" However, instead of giving in, he pauses. He remembers Mr. Lucas's teachings. First, recognize the thought, then pause and breathe. Next, reframe it into something positive, and finally, carry that calmness forward. Step by step, breath by breath, Ethan collects himself. With steady hands and a clear mind, he opens the door and walks in. Inside, the room falls silent, yet instead of fear, Ethan now feels focus. He begins his presentation with clarity, confidence, and a voice full of purpose. His ideas resonate. His energy inspires. And as the final words leave his lips, the room erupts in applause. In that moment, Ethan understands something profound. Mastering thoughts and emotions doesn't mean stopping them from appearing. Rather, it means choosing how to respond to them with wisdom and strength. Later, as the meeting ends and people disperse, Mr. Lucas walks up to him, smiling warmly. He says, "You did not let the wind control your sail. You chose your own direction, and that makes all the difference." Ultimately, life is a continuous flow of thoughts and emotions. The truly successful are not those who never feel fear or doubt, but those who acknowledge them, manage them, and redirect them at the right moments. So, whenever life's storms arise, remember, be the master of your mind, for that is the highest art of living.